Welcome back to Where Are They Now, the series where I expand the lore of individual characters in Overwatch. Since it appears that Overwatch's story is on an indefinite hiatus, I've taken it upon myself to throw some ideas around about how it could be progressed. For this episode, we are going to focus on the Rocket Queen herself, Pharah. Let's quickly get the ground rules out of the way. 1. This is a creative exercise and it's all for fun. I by no means think they have to take these characters in this direction. 2. I want character growth and change. It's not just about who they meet and what they do, it's about how these experiences affect them and why. 3. We are going to stick to canon for anything in the past, and the future stuff that hasn't happened yet is going to be much more free reign for me. And 4, I'm going to keep these expansions as grounded as possible. Aliens won't be coming down from the sky, I want interesting conflict, not shock value. So, let's start from where Pharah's story left off. The Liberation mission in Toronto. Pharah had finally achieved her childhood dream of becoming an Overwatch agent, but was still trying to process the changes in command structure. Remember that Pharah comes from a strict military background. She had taken note of Vivian Chase's leadership, but had reservations about some of her more rogue operations and muddied history after Overwatch's initial collapse. Wanting to help bring Overwatch more in line with how she was used to operating from her time in the military, she came to Sojourn with ideas about how to better Overwatch's operation. But before anything could become of this and Pharah could get settled within the team, she received word that the god AI Anubis was showing spiking levels of activity. Concerned that Null Sector may be working fast attempting to free Anubis whilst Overwatch was still recovering from their missions, Pharah set course for Cairo. Upon arrival at the Temple of Anubis, Pharah was not met with an army of Null Sector units like she thought, but in fact, only one wannabe archaeologist, Sloan Cameron, aka Venture, already detained by the Egyptian military. Venture was put under heavy questioning, their gear was inspected, and they were given an extensive background check. Other than a couple of incidents around the globe of someone vaguely matching their description ransacking ruins, the record was clean and no ties to Null Sector were found. The question on Pharah's mind, of course, was how were they able to get inside the temple at all? So Pharah brought Venture back to the temple and made them walk her through every step they took to make it inside. Pharah took note of two things during this interaction. Firstly, Sloan was extremely intelligent, well-researched, and enthusiastic. She could recognize that gleam in their eyes when they talked about their methods and what they were able to find in the temple. And secondly, they were an eccentric character to say the least, amplified by their young age. Definitely a bit of a wild card and not the most elegant person she had ever met. As it turns out though, Pharah was not the only one taking note of these quirks. In fact, Ana Amari herself was eavesdropping on this interaction and decided to reveal herself to a surprised Venture and a less than surprised Pharah. Initially here to keep an eye on Pharah and catch up after her first official Overwatch missions, Ana became privy to Venture and their talents. Ana pitched the idea that Venture travel with her across the world and promised in return to bring Sloan anywhere they wanted to go. Venture, dreaming of all the awesome loot that was waiting for them, wouldn't even let Ana finish before agreeing, very enthusiastically. Pharah interjects here, countering by saying that Sloan is best used to help Overwatch and could be a potential asset with revitalizing the Eco Point program. If you want to learn more about that, check out my previous video on May. She also expresses that this would be a great opportunity to get Sloan a little more disciplined in order to best utilize their skill set. Pharah and Ana bicker for a while, which causes Sloan to become overwhelmed and flee. In this moment, left there only with Ana, Pharah sees a glimpse of her mother's over-controlling aspects in herself and freezes. She had just witnessed her mother try to take someone under her wing, just as she once had with Pharah in her youth. But this time, she wasn't going to disappear for them. Perhaps it was jealousy or frustration, but it caused her to lose herself a little bit, and its effects were immediately felt by someone else. While Pharah is contemplating this interaction, Ana wastes no time chasing after them. Pharah snaps out of it and attempts to pursue, but her mother is an elusive specimen and is able to get away. After unsuccessfully mending any of those relationships, Pharah stays for a little bit in Cairo to help tighten security at the Temple of Anubis and decides to return back to Gibraltar and continue her goals with Overwatch. When she returns, she finds that none of her initial suggestions were taken into consideration and much of the team are split off doing their own missions. Vivian has taken up the role of commander and is running the operation for the members who are currently operating out of Gibraltar. These include many of the old faces like Reinhardt, Winston, and Mercy, and a couple of the newbies like Baptiste, and of course, Pharah herself. While there are no immediate pressing issues upon her return, Pharah finds herself training mostly while trying to influence some of the policies and operations of the team. She is, again, mostly shut off by Vivian, but she is not the only one. Pharah takes note of Vivian's frustration with juggling the personalities of the new Overwatch team. This concerns Pharah because as more threats begin to pop up, Vivian has been uncharacteristically slow to respond. Pharah notices a pattern, with many somewhat localized threats becoming nullified even without the intervention of Overwatch. So after one of these meetings, Pharah decides to investigate one of these threats, a report of some thugs using old Overwatch tech found in the surrounding areas in order to confirm a suspicion she had. After staking out around the area for a while, a masked vigilante with a very familiar arm cannon appears to put a stop to the trading of weapons. Pharah observes Vivian attempt to end the operation, but it becomes clear that she is in way over her head. Pharah then intervenes, fighting alongside her commander for the very first time, putting to use all that extra training she had been working on. Upon successfully overcoming the threat, Vivian is furious with Pharah. She remarks about how, for a soldier, she is insubordinate and after today has twice gone on unapproved dangerous solo missions. Pharah counters with how it is embarrassing that she will not attempt to unite the team and points out the hypocrisy over her statement about dangerous solo runs when this one almost got her killed. These comments aren't lost on Vivian, and in her shame, admits that she has been stuck in her ways and was not exactly ready to get back to her old role. Putting her pride behind her, she is now convinced that the best way to move forward is to instate Pharah as second in command and allow for a fresh perspective, as she has both shown her leadership and combat prowess, along with an unmatched maturity. This is an underrated aspect that she was not expecting from any of the newer members of Overwatch. Before packing up and going home, Vivian also doesn't let Pharah go without pointing out that her tracking skills have reminded her of her mother's. This time, while the emotions are still mixed, Pharah takes great pride in this comparison. Her mother, watching over the interaction the entire time, of course, does too. And Venture says something like, "She rocks," which receives an aggressive eye roll from the elder Amari. That is it for the story of Pharah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to see more of me, check out the rest of my channel where I do plenty of variety Overwatch stuff. While you're still on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment about what you feel about this and what you would kind of want to see from the story going forward. Like and subscribe while you're there too, I really do appreciate it. I've been getting a lot of support recently, especially in this last month, and I cannot thank you guys more. Also, don't forget that I stream live on Twitch. That's going to be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Every single time I go live, I try to do some sort of discussion between me just playing ranked regularly. And if you're looking to talk to people about Overwatch, join my Discord down below, send me your hot take, send me a replay code that I can take a look at, send me a rework idea, anything. If you just want to talk general Overwatch, that's fine too. That's where you can find that. Okay, I'll get out of your hair. Thank you so much for the support. I will see you next time. Concerned that Null Sector may be working fast, attempting to free Anubis whilst Overwatch was still recovering from their missions, Pharah set course for Rio. Did I say Rio?